Okay, if it's okay with everybody, we'll go ahead and get started. Today is Monday, September 13th, and it's 10 a.m. We'll call the meeting of the Board of Directors of the Sweetwater Enterprise for Economic Development Municipal Development District of Sweetwater, Texas. Call the meeting to order. Russ, if you'll lead us in prayer, please.
Show me a prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to this time just thankful for watching over us this past year and a half or so with the pandemic, and we just ask that you guide our nation and our local leaders, and as well as ourselves through this time, and be with this board as we make decisions that impact the community. Help us keep that in mind as we make every decision, and let it be your will. In your name we pray.
Amen. Thank you, Russ. We'll move to item 3, public comments and receipt of petitions. Anyone have anything? No comments? Okay.
No, ma'am.
All righty, great, thank you. We'll go ahead and go down the agenda. Action items. Board to review and consider approving the minutes of the August 9th, 2021 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded that the minutes be approved from August 9th, 2021. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. The ayes have it and the motion is carried. Action item 4B, board to review and consider payment of accounts payable.
They're still making their way around.
Okay.
Had a chance to look.
Okay, sorry, we'll come back to
Let's
that.
get through.
Let's go to item 4C, board to review and consider approving the July 2021 financial statements.
Okay, so if you'll flip to page 5 of your board packet, you'll see our balance sheet ending July 31st of 2021. If you'll notice down there at the bottom, we're actually up 18.37% in taxes received in August as opposed to the ones in 2020. I did go online and look at the city of Sweetwater, and the city is actually up 25.83%
Great.
in their sales tax. So we're positive all around.
Morning, everyone.
Joseph,
Good morning.
You'll flip to page 6. Just want to point out, last month we had a positive 8,775 under that miscellaneous income. That was a mistake by the city. They had deposited some payroll to the MDD when it was supposed to be taken out of the MDD and deposited to the city. So that negative 8,775 is just a correction.
okay.
And we're pretty much nothing really new there. We're all within budget except for, of course, insurance and things that we pay like a one time per year. You'll go to page 7 of our reconciliation of designated fund balance. As you go down, you'll see Dent Truck Lines is still on there. That is set to come off in the month of August on financial statements. Just a quick report on the Locust Street apartments that we've incentivized. They have started on their plumbing and electrical work, and they're very happy with the job that Villafranca did when he went in and fixed the, I guess that's the south wall, when they went to take off the roof and it kind of started to move and all that good stuff. But they're happy with his work, and
All the brick and the wall started pushing out. They actually had to take all the brick off that south side, rebuild the wall, rebuild the roof structure.
so apparently there was many layers of roofing on it whenever they started it. Yeah.
Looks really good from the outside.
Mhm.
Good,
Yeah.
good.
Did a great job. Can we get some pictures of that?
Yes, yeah, I'll go by and get some, send it to y'all an email. Paydex, they have completed 46 of their 80 units. Gary McDowell, he has the 8th home almost at dry-in. It's just lacking some windows to be at the dry-in phase. And his 7th home is completely at the dry-in phase. I actually spoke to his son-in-law a couple of weeks back, and he's actually taking over this project here. His name is
Like Howard.
Blake Howard. And so he'll kind of be a point of contact going forward. I think Gary McDowell's kind of given him this project, and he's gonna start building some homes at Possum Kingdom Lake. So he's moving on, and Blake was telling me that he has a interest in these two will be spec homes that they're working on right now, but he has interest in 2 additional custom homes, and one of them is a mother that is following her son here. He just got a job at Georgia Pacific, and she's from California. So we're still attracting that outside of Sweetwater.
So that'll be 10, right?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Those aren't confirmed, but he did say that they do have interest. Unless there are other questions on the financials, right there, we can go to our sales tax sheet on page 9. You'll see we had another record-setting month all the way back to 2012. And so this is the 3rd one.
Gail, have you seen
In a row. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Sorry, Misha.
Right, you're fine. So we're still doing good with our collections of sales tax. And if you'll look at our,
Interesting to see if that holds.
I know,
I had a local pond owner come in the other day. He said that his business has been off because of all the extra cash in the economy, but they're expecting a huge boom in their business. So,
really
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Probably not good for our economy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I do believe that all the federal unemployment assistance has gone away from all states. Is that correct? I think so. A couple of weekends ago in August,
Mhm.
or maybe
I had not heard that.
Okay.
Just
Some-
unemployment. has.
unemployment. Yeah,
Extra unemployment. There are some other programs, though,
there are. Okay.
my understanding.
Thought I saw something. And then if you'll look at our unemployment numbers, everyone's decreased. Except for the state of Texas as a whole, they actually increased 0.1%, but our 9-county region is all decreased in our unemployment, so it's a good sign. I don't know if y'all have noticed, but as you drive through Sonic, I think they had to close through the drive-through and ask you to park at a stall now and stuff because of the lack of staff that they have, and it's just nobody wants to work.
I think Karen has met with the motel. She meets with them once a month. And so every one of them said their business is doing great, and everyone said we need 3 to 5 people at least.
Mhm.
Elmer, who does the tree trimming, he's down to just him and one other person. He'll hire somebody and they won't even show up.
Yeah, he's behind a year. I heard.
Grant had 3 or 4 interviews the other day, scheduled from 9 to 1 o'clock, and 0 showed up for interview.
Really?
Wow.
0.
Well, I'm fully staffed and I've got 1 pregnant, so we're growing our own.
Is that what we're doing?
I guess so. I like that,
Good job.
by any means. And that's all I have, unless y'all have questions.
Thank you, Misha. Any questions?
Move we accept the financials as stated.
Thank you.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the July 2021 financial statements. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. The ayes have it and the motion is carried. Go back to item 4B, board to review and consider payment of accounts payable.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Moved and seconded to approve accounts payable. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. The ayes have it and the motion is carried. We'll move to item 4D, board to review and consider approving resolution number 2021-002 related to a full-time employee financial incentive.
So if you'll flip to your red tab, that's the resolution. And it's in regards to the Hardhead Veterans Full-Time Employee Incentive. The way we structured this one is instead of giving them a max amount of employees, we just kind of set a a max amount of funds that we're willing to distribute over the 5 years, which is set to 500,000. And of course, Jeff did a really great job of going through and justifying why we can incentivize someone to bring in jobs and tying it to their expansion of their facility and creating the primary jobs and all the people that they'll need to hire to staff that expansion.
So I just felt like I might bring up one thing on this. If y'all look at the undesignated fund or, the fund balance report, not telling you anything we don't already know, but, we had a $7 million amount to spend in fund balance. And when you take off the beat and bow incentive, we're down to, what is that? That's 1.2. We're down to, is that 2.5? So we're down to 2.5 million, and I know it'll grow, but I just, when I read this incentive agreement, and I'm all for it, I just thought it would be good to discuss, how realistic is their expectation of 60 employees? And do we want to tie up $500,000 of fund balance for 5 years?
I really don't think that they'll hit their 60 employees until the last 2 years, or maybe even the last year. And even at that, that's what is it, $180,000 if they do hit the full 60 and they all live within Millen County. We just kind of, I went off of kind of Ken's advice, and he said that's the largest y'all ever set it at. And so we kind of did that to allow them to reap the benefit if they do make the 60 employees their first year, which I don't see that happening.
So we could, you could change it to do, less than $500,000 amount, or you could change it to, do, there's any number of ways you could do it, or you could leave it. I just thought that I should bring that up because it was something I thought about when I read the contract. I thought, think,
So the
and I know this is what we discussed. So
the max yearly they would hit is 180. I just don't know how. Could we encumber year by year, but that wouldn't really be.
Not the way it's written, I
Yeah.
don't think. Yeah.
So Carolyn,
Any thoughts?
Your concern is not necessarily, you're not against it, you just don't want to tie that much up at
I'm
first.
just wondering if that's what we want to do. If you've
I
got
understand.
2.5, and if this is a contractual obligation, then I think we
can't
have
spend
to
Yeah, we can't. spend it.
have it as a reserved amount. So just something to talk about. I just felt like it was something we ought to throw out there.
Right.
I'm not saying I feel one way or
If
the
you
other.
will remember, go back to your fund balance. Of course, that 300,000 of Dent Trucking is going to come back on.
Right.
The Sutherland's 500,000. That's kind of like a wash.
Right.
And then we have a couple of facades down at the bottom.
That will come off. Right. That's
Yes.
true. It's just a matter of, whether you want to see that for the next 5 years sitting there as
Right.
an encumbered amount. Because once we sign the contract, am I right, Jeff? It'll stay that way for 5 years.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
designating the $500,000.
For 5 years.
I guess it would decrease every year that they actually get paid out, wouldn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But again,
yeah.
they have to hire veterans, I don't know. What does anybody think?
Misha, how many do you expect them to hire annually?
He really wasn't, when we met with him to go over this contract, he really wasn't sure of a number. He said at the most 60. And so I don't see them hiring more than additional 10 to 15 the first year, maybe. I don't know, Ken, what kind of feel did you get?
Well, I think that's the struggle we always have when you do FTEs is knowing,
Yeah.
it's all based on conversation with the company and what their expansions expect and so on. And
And their sales and
then when then we do complicate it by making them live within Nolan County or within that radius. And that makes it tougher because if we look back when we did the oil company out there, they had less than 30% of their people live within the boundaries that they could get incentives on.
And the other variable we have now is even though they say, I'll hire 30 people, well, they don't have 30 people to hire.
Right. Especially in
What I'm
Lake
saying, they're
County.
not available. They're not gonna present themselves. That's what perplexes you.
Oh, it is. I mean, even
That's
when.
gotta change.
It was tough.
Good thing, good thing.
So it'd be hard to like tie up an amount less than the 500,000 in my opinion, because we just don't, I know, I don't want to be negative or anything, but I know that they won't hit that. But I just don't know how else to encumber.
Maybe do it for 2 years and then give Seed the opportunity to extend it depending on how their business is going. I don't know.
Would y'all like to do?
Jeff, what do you think?
I'm thinking, I'm kind of thinking out loud. I mean, we could cap the amount per year with an aggregate of 500,000. Like saying no more than X in a given year. I don't know, does that change your accounting? If we only have, if
Well,
we
it
say,
could, because
Yeah,
if you
'cause
did
it'll reduce, it'll
100,000
drop
a
off.
year, at the end of 1 year, even if they only had 2 people, 100 would go off of it. And then your obligation would only be 400 for the next year, and then 300, 200, 100.
Right.
and the only other way would be shortening it with,
I
to
just don't
keep the
want to.
full 500 out would be shortening the term with renewals, so it
Yeah.
pops up new every year.
I just don't want to hurt them like their last year's, because if they were to hire 60 or have 60 from Nolan County on board, that would be $180,000 incentive. And so if we restricted them to $100,000 a year, they wouldn't really get their full benefit. So how could we?
I mean, you could stagger it up.
Yeah.
You could just have a chart where first year it's X, Y, and Z.
I think the big deal is you would just need to evaluate whether, if we had some opportunity come along and we didn't, and that money was tied up in hard hat veterans and we, kind of shooting ourselves in the foot. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
And what are the chances of that happening? I don't know,
So
So,
the 2 largest funds we've ever done were this year.
exactly. That's right.
Now, with a little caveat on that, we did do a $2.5 million guarantee to Ludlam's at one time.
Right. But the Cape and Sun and some of those, I mean, we've done some big ones, but anyway, I don't know.
And we
I don't mean
do
to
bring
string
in
this
a
out. I just felt like,
positive cash flow of at least 600,000 annually.
You need to include that in our figures too.
Because
Yeah.
you think you take 300,000 off from debt, add 601,000 in 1 year, you're almost at $1 million in 1 year that you're
Yeah.
gonna add to our undesignated.
It's a workable balance.
Yeah.
I just felt like it was something we ought to toss around a little bit, but make sure everybody's on the same page.
But, and I think you bring up a good point. I think that was one of the things, one of the positives we've always had when we dealt with these companies, when they heard this, was that they had a chance to earn a certain amount of stuff. But I think you still could do that by saying that we're going to cap it on each year. I think there's some way to do that where they know that up front, because the next person you talk to doesn't know what we do anyway. So whatever we present to them is going to be a good deal for them.
Mhm.
Got to be a way we can stage it where we don't tie up the $500,000 in
Right.
one sitting.
Would there be a way to do like 2 years at a max amount of 360 and with an option at the board's discretion to extend an additional 3 at the end? Or
Yeah, I mean, y'all can do what y'all want on that. You could.
360,000.
because I mean, that would kind of give us more time to evaluate at the rate that they're hiring.
Yeah, because you could even make it, I mean, 360 is that would be the maximum.
Mhm.
It could be where you go and talk to them, say, what do you really think? And it may be
Right, after
30,
those 2
and then it
years.
could be 180 for those first 2 years. And
Yeah.
if they hire 30 employees, I mean, that's
Because we can keep the max amount at 500 in there with the
with the,
over the full term of the
and
agreement.
I mean, like you could do that with the resolution, because resolution is just saying we can do it, but we're not designating it. And then the incentive agreement would give you the flexibility to negotiate the incentive agreement Because in the resolution, we just say up to, don't we just say up to, or we can make it.
The maximum.
And then the incentive agreement, however you can structure it to bring that number down.
Something else we're not considering is if they were to hire 30 people, their business is going, blowing and going. So that incentive becomes a carrot that disappears. It's money in their pocket, but they don't need that to be motivated. They're already motivated.
That's true.
So we need to remember that too.
And they're already here too. You know, they're already in business here. So that's a little different too.
Like Kim told them, they
We're not
normally
incentivizing them to
buy a
come.
building before you ask for help. So that, we don't want to use that against them though.
Right. But we're not incentivizing them to come. They are here. So,
We're pretty much incentivizing them because what they initially came to us for was help with infrastructure to support their new equipment. And so they wanted us to pretty much write a check up front to upgrade their electrical infrastructure. And so we came up with the FTE instead.
Yeah.
So we're trying to help them out with their expansion just by tying it to the number of employees that they
They're
hire.
trying to bring the building up to where to support the equipment
Right.
they're buying to produce the
Mhm.
product. Okay, all right.
Which actually will create local manufacturing then, because everything else now is bought.
Yeah.
by sales.
And I would rather see that. I'd rather see it done local.
Yeah.
well, do y'all want to leave it as it is? Or do you want to try to restructure?
I prefer to stage it if we can find a way to stage it, not
Okay.
obligate as much money.
Okay.
That way we don't have to do a lot of technical calculations on our growth versus their growth and all odds and ends and just,
Right.
and support them, but take care of us too.
Right.
So 100,000 a year, is that what you're thinking?
I don't have a number in mind.
Okay.
Just something that's not 500,000
Okay.
in one wad.
500 to start with, and then it'll decrease every year
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
obligation amount. Okay. Anybody else?
I'd like to move the table, it, let Misha and Ken go back and refigure, revise, look at other options that might be, we haven't thought of yet.
And then this is set to go to city council tomorrow also on their agenda.
Contingent.
Contingent upon our
Yeah.
approval.
Yeah.
So city council doesn't have to do anything tomorrow.
This may fail. I move we table.
Second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded that the, incentive agreement, well, it's actually the resolution 2021-002 related to a full-time employee financial incentive be tabled. At this time, all in favor, please say aye. Any opposed, no. The ayes have it, so the motion is tabled and we'll revisit that next month. Thank y'all. Okay, so now we're on the incentives. So I guess, do we need a motion to table that as well? Okay,
So moved.
For a second.
great. So it's been moved and seconded now for action item 4E to consider approving a full-time incentive for hard hat veterans, correct?
Hard head.
It's hard head veterans, not hard hat veterans. Okay. I've been saying that wrong. I just, anyway, hard head veterans. And it's been moved and seconded that we table this approval for this incentive. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the incentive is tabled as well. So now we'll go to action item 4F, board to review, consider approving funds for the demolition of dilapidated structures at 3413 West Broadway. We've got some pictures.
Yes, ma'am. The bid is actually under y'all's blue tab. I don't know if any of y'all had a chance to review it. If I'm not mistaken, Dana, 3 bids were requested and we only received 1, or the city did. But this structure is far West Broadway, right as you come into Sweetwater over the, yes, be the west exit. Kind of out there pretty close to TSTC turnoff and everything. And this bid will include 240 feet from side property to side property, and then 100 feet in depth. And so all 3 of these buildings are included within this bid. They'll also kind of scrape away some brush and get rid of all those dead trees and really make that property look good. And if you have something else to add.
There's some debris there. They had a mobile home that they emptied out. they took the mobile home and left everything for us. Still there, that's part of the experience because you can actually see it and it's a nuisance from the highway. So the reason we went 100 foot back is to reasonably clean up this property. There's stuff in the back that a new owner will have to deal with, tires and stuff like that. We're not equipped to do that nor spend that much on this property if it's not an issue. It's mainly the structures and the debris in the front that is just unsightly. And the property owner, he's been out there trying to clean it up. We've advised him that we're coming in and we're going to clean it up. So he knows it. So we're ready. It'll be in my opinion, a very nice improvement along that turn out there. There's a number of residential properties that keep their property up on both sides. So it'll be a nice little cleanup project, little image improvement on a gateway to the community.
Well, the fiberglass road.
That'll be gone too, yeah.
Setting up our road.
Yeah,
Is the owner gonna pay any of this?
that may be going before, but that'll be part of it, absolutely. That'll be going.
So is the owner gonna pay any of it?
Well, we're gonna invoice them. So if they don't pay for it, then it does
Go back
there's
to
a lien on the property, yes.
Yeah, go back to the city.
Yes, it could be a trustee property in the end.
Good.
Is this the property that has the real old semi truck on it?
Yes.
It used to, yeah, they removed that
Okay.
upon initial notice but that is the property. They had a mobile home back there.
Yeah.
Double wide, I believe, and then they had a semi truck. And so when they got their notice, they went right ahead and had somebody take those probably free of charge just to get them off the property so we wouldn't have to move that toward them.
That's good. That's good.
In the end, it'll be a really nice improvement right there.
I think so
Quick
too.
question, if I may.
Sure.
Dana, the registered owner is, according to the local CAD, is Glenn F. Jones. Is that who you have personally talked to?
That is who, well, he is deceased. He has a representative who we've talked to, who's a family member and has the authority to speak on his behalf. The person that's been on the property is his son also. So, yeah, we dealt with as far as we could go on the property and they're aware of it. And in fact, we gave them all kinds of time to address it. And then she basically had said, I'm not putting any more money into this property. You just do what you need to do. And so then at that point, then we went out for bids. But we gave them every opportunity to take it for themselves.
Thank you.
Good.
And I will say this has been on our board's radar. We approved an initial property inspection, which we didn't have to do that back on October 9th of 2020.
Okay. Thank you, Misha.
Uh-huh.
More questions? It's good, Dana. Thank you.
Thank you.
I move we award the bid to Cole Construction.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded that we approve funds for the demolition of the dilapidated structures at 3413 West Broadway. I need to say the amount.
Yes, ma'am, please.
Okay, let me see. So we have a
15.
bid from Co Construction Company in the amount of $15,388. All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed, no. The ayes have it and the motion is carried. Do we have a first and a second on that or did I skip that?
He moved, I said.
Okay, good. Thank you. I got turned around. Okay, thank y'all. I think that's a good one. I'm excited about that. Okay, we'll go to action item 4G, board to review and consider approving a facade improvement grant application for 700 East Broadway.
So Aspen Electric has actually purchased this from Black Plumbing owned it, or Darren Black with Black Plumbing. Black Plumbing was actually never in this building. They've already done quite a bit of work to it. They've redone the parking lot, put some window tint on those windows and done some signage and everything. And he was kind of notified about our facade improvement grant and wanted to apply for it to go ahead and finish out. They want to put a sign above the windows on the north side And then under that, they would like to put in an awning. And then the 5 doors on the west side of the building, the overhead doors, those are kind of currently fixed temporarily to where they can make them go up and down, but he wants to also replace those as well. And so if you'll flip to the yellow tab, you'll see his facade grant application. And there's also some quotes attached in there, and he's having a bit of trouble getting an official quote for the awning, but he was able to provide his text message string on asking for that. And which one is that one? The signage and lighting, if you'll notice, that is pre-tax, the quote that he got. So he has calculated the tax and added that in on his little table right there on the first page. And then, of course, the garage doors. You'll see that quote from Veterans Garage Door Company.
And he's also accommodating another brand new business.
The other glass company.
Yeah, he's leasing 2 of those bays, put in there.
Two
Does he-
questions. Where's the awning gonna be?
The awning's gonna be under the sign.
Covered, or just right above the glass?
Yes.
Yeah, to help create a little.
A lot of,
warmer
yeah, a lot of
climate
sun.
inside.
Yeah, get rid of some of the sun. Second question, do the garage doors qualify?
They do within the application.
Say that again?
They do within the application, yes.
What are the 2 businesses, Ken, that does he have subleases yet or not yet?
Chirac.
Yeah, Sherrock Glass and
Good.
Auto Glass and
And then, of course, his electric.
Kenny.
That's some kind of family, isn't it?
I don't know if it's family,
It's
Mary
good.
Sherrock and he and his dad, the Sherrock, worked together and they had a big falling out and he went out on his own, so.
He's from SS Premier
Good. That's good.
and has moved down.
Very good. Okay. More questions, Gil? Did you get an answer?
No, I'm still puzzled about the garage doors. That's construction, not facade improvement.
Well, did we pay for that on the,
We've never had one.
what did they do on those garage doors over on the, well, it was Jack Lawrence's warehouse. I don't know how to say that.
Just painted them.
They just
They-
painted it.
They just painted
Well,
it.
they did put one new one in the back.
Oh, yeah, when we did
And they
approve
didn't,
that.
yeah,
one.
because they didn't work.
So we've set a precedent with that. Okay. All right, I yield to the floor.
Anybody have anything else? Any comment, any questions, any issues?
Yeah, and going back to your comment on that, when we originally put this together, our thought was a curb appeal, and curb appeal could be doors as part of it.
No, I agree with
And-
that.
And, you know, but we did also say you couldn't do new construction, you couldn't go in and build a new whole front on that thing, it was more of the.
The way his building's set, the facade could be considered all the way around the
Yes,
building.
yeah.
And I can stretch my doubts that way.
And normally you do the front, but it states in the deal that if the side is shown, you go back to the ice cream place, you know, their front and their side were both part of it, because of the visibility and no buildings there to block it.
I had one community member come to me and say, now, tell me this, said, garage doors working, is that in the code? And I said, well, I'm not sure that's a code item. You remember when the doors were halfway
Yes,
up?
yes.
I thought, well, that's being pretty picky. So, but I answered your question. Okay, enough said.
Is there any other questions?
I move we approve as stated.
Okay.
I second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded that we approve the facade improvement grant application for 700 East Broadway in the amount of $13,180.73. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. The ayes have it and the motion is carried. Okay, thank y'all. So at this time, we will make we will enter into into a closed session under section 551.074 of the Texas Government Code to deliberate over personnel matters. We'll need a motion and a second for that. Okay, so we're reconvened. Thank y'all. And Misha, it's your update, please.
Before I do my update, I have a something for Mr. Dr. Peak.
Oh,
Mr.
is this
Doctor.
it?
Mr. Doctor,
I get emotional about everything, so I'm sorry. I don't know.
Thank you, Misha, for doing that. Goodness.
So we just want to thank you for your 9 years of dedicated service, and we wish you had more time to serve under you as my board of.
Thank you, ma'am.
Give her a couple back. Thank you.
I've made ladies cry before, but usually not for a good reason.
Well, gosh, I think I've just been in denial of this September meeting being the one right before October, but goodness, Dr. Peak, I don't even know that any of us could have words for how much you have contributed to this organization and to the boards, and your wisdom and your insights and your just everything, your presence and your
Thank you.
just
Thank you all. And if I can make some comments, it has been a real privilege to serve on this board, and I especially want to thank Ken for all he's done. And Ken's got a lot of feathers he can put in his cap, but the one that I'm proudest of is him guiding us through the transition from a type A to an MDD. It was challenging, and he walked us through it and did a great job, and we are harvesting the fruit now. And Misha, I'm very excited for you, and just a big, you go get them. Okay,
Thank
you're going to
you.
do great things. And when I step off the board, I am very comfortable that it is in very good.
Thank you, Dr. Peak.
anybody have any comments?
Well, I'll be honest, when he was first recommended to come on, I mean, the board was concerned about bringing on someone from the city council. And I think one of the things that we learned very quickly, not only the comments you made about his wisdom and his understanding, I think it helped that he was there and went back to city council and said that they're doing a good job. You know, he could see firsthand because the city wasn't very involved in that, and been a great working relationship. And again, I think that the thing that probably will help his legacy as much as anything was the pushing of the MDD because of the changes that it's making in our community. Because
I'm proudest of that.
that-
And that wasn't just me. There were
Game
lots
changer.
of other good folks in this community. Some of them sitting on this board right now that helped us, and some that aren't even here anymore. They're running ranches in Clyde, I believe. But no, it was a great effort on everybody's part.
Well, does anybody else have any?
Now, let's go.
Okay.
Just real quick, about our facade, and it's actually dated, I think, 2020 through 2021, but we're probably going to have someone, the owner of this, or the new owner of this building, come to us with a facade improvement grant in the next couple of months. I wanted to ask y'all about roofing. It doesn't say anything in our facade improvement grant application about a roof or improvements to a roof. You can clearly see the roof from the thoroughfare, but if we don't want, and this is not the first time we've been asked about a roof, but the other question was redoing a roof is like a barn type, and I didn't really think it would qualify under facade, but I just kind of wanted to get y'all's thoughts. And if we don't want to fund a roof, we need to write it in because it doesn't state otherwise. I think what he wants to do is put like some type of seal coat on this and paint. If I was.
And I think that was part of the question, and, you know, going back to when Marissa put this thing together and we got all this information from a lot of different places. You know, it was really designed as curb appeal. I mean, that was kind of what the focus was, and roofing wasn't talked about because we didn't see, at least at that point, an issue of curb appeal. This, I guess you could say, probably has an issue with curb appeal. I mean, if you repainted the rest of the building and did all that stuff, you're still gonna have that pretty ugly looking roof, just whether or not it needs to be part of this grant. And I think I agree with her that if that is not something that we want to consider, that's probably something we need to put in and change that to make sure that it doesn't come up.
Still be 15,000 max.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's still the
Right.
same, that part's not changed. And I don't think it should. It seems like we have a really good program that
Right.
people are enjoying using, and it's making a difference in our community.
Mhm.
But 15,000 won't go very far replacing the
Right.
roof. So,
Okay, I'll bite off the turkey leg first. The south exposure, absolutely. The front of the building is absolute. This side is a questionable. The roof to me is out. The owner who bought that building knew it needed that when he bought the building. We're offering to make the front look better for those driving by it.
Mhm.
And I just can't see, let me rephrase that. The general public has been used to seeing this building with that roof, and when they see the front brought up to look better, they'll say, hey, look at that front. They won't say, look at that roof.
That's true.
So isn't that our objective?
Yep.
Is to get somebody to say, hey, look at that front?
I agree with Gil. You know, the next thing we're gonna be asked to completely reskin buildings.
yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, we've got the $15,000 limit, so we're never gonna take too big a bite, but I think we're seeing people get really creative in their definition of facade.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's easy just to put no roof in the
Right.
contract and then you're done.
Okay, and I'll do that, and probably we'll have to bring it back to this board next month for approval. when
Okay.
we write it in.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
I pulled up the facade program itself, and item 5 states, understanding the overall objective is to improve exterior visibility presentation. The board has discretion to decline an application when suggesting enhancements that would enable future acceptance. So we've got, I mean, by virtue of our own program, we
Right.
can decide. So I don't think we necessarily have to include or disclude roofs. We can decide case by
Right.
case. You concur, Jeff?
Yeah, you'll have discretion.
If I may, for me, it would help if we did include no roof, just because it has been brought up.
Yeah.
In the first.
And if you tell
place.
this person no, but then you go down the road and you tell somebody else yes, you're.
Because they'll circulate this agreement, that
Yeah.
facade. They'll
Mhm.
circulate that, what we're doing around.
Okay, if
Yeah.
that's okay with y'all.
Yeah.
Okay. Sweetwater Station, I don't know if y'all, remember this little project? It's kind of right behind, Creative Graphics and stuff. It's the 52 unit senior housing. Of course, a $10 million, approximately $10 million in investment, the age restriction, age restricted living, and the rents will range from $350 to $841. They just got approved. If you'll see on July 29th, 2021, that TDHCA award, they got approved that. And so they are expecting to start construction beginning of January. Kind of the same as Beaton Bow. And so we'll have 2 really nice housing projects kind of going on. He said if, and I don't mind sending this to y'all, but this projected schedule is still kind of right along the timeline that he's expecting. So
And we have nothing invested in this.
What is TDH Texas?
it's
It's
I think
Texas
it's-
Department of Housing and.
Texas Department of Housing. Okay, that's what I
can't remember
thought.
the CH is.
Thank you.
So
That's
they,
good.
what they do, and they're not a, it's called a 9% tax credit, I believe. And they go on our tax roll at full value. And they actually even sell their tax credits to make a profit as opposed to, and that's how they get their rent so low, that 350 to, because it is still based on income.
Okay. So
Um,
this is subsidized housing.
Yeah, but not like you would normally think,
Yeah,
Okay.
because they do pay 100% of the tax.
and I think like really the only restriction is the age, and so you have to, they go off, you want to have another income outside of your Social Security is what they like to see. And so it's not necessarily, like you said, subsidized. And I can send, and this is pretty informational, this little packet that they gave us a while back, and I'll send that to y'all if you'd like me to.
And their location got extra points because of its physical location and the territory around it, the diameter around it had to have certain number of things, and that all fit very well. And we were competing against Snyder, and this one pointed out a whole lot higher than what the Snyder location did.
If I'm not mistaken, their construction will take care of one of our dilapidated structures back there on,
Actually,
I think it's
Bauckham.
Bauckham.
Yeah. And the Boston House building will be eliminated.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
that's what
Parking lot.
part of that front part is. That'll be kind of the entrance going back, and it'll be kind of a big L. Yeah, there you go.
And when you say age
Oh, there's- I
restriction,
see your place, Russ. Okay.
it's older people or
Yes,
younger people?
yes.
Okay.
It is. it's-
Older, I think
That's why the
55,
city council so strongly supported.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
55
That's a
and
joke.
up. I think is the age.
We're all eligible.
And then, I mean, it looks really nice. They have like community areas and games and I don't know. If I was
And we've got
older,
nothing invested in.
no,
That's right.
no, I
I
don't believe the
like that
city
part.
doesn't either. They just provided a letter of support as all the city did, I
That's,
believe.
yeah, it's all the city did. We did have one city council member that said, I don't think that's the city role. But I asked him, I said, how important is the city's letter of support? He said, it's very important. We won't get it without it. And so we did support it. I think one other advantage is with that many residents in that area, being senior citizens, it not help occupancy at Nolan County Plaza.
Mhm. So that was just a quick little update.
Will
The
that
next-
enhance or decrease or stabilize, or what effect would this have on our overall population?
As far as populate, of course, it's 52 units. I don't know if it will, I see people not being able, the ones that aren't really capable of taking care of their home anymore and still want a really nice, because it has a full kitchen, full, bedroom, and there's 2 bedrooms and 1 bedrooms. And so I don't really know if it'd bring in new residents, but maybe open up some other housing.
What is the age restriction?
55 and up.
55.
Hey,
Yeah.
not good.
And so it's not like super elderly. It's, I guess when you start getting your senior discount kind of thing.
So it's not like.
Oh, hush.
That's what you, Jared Gill and I, it's not like the
Oh
super
my
elderly.
God, no, it's not like, okay. Well, there's no nice way to say it. I'm sorry.
But those units would be purchased or no, they lease?
They're rent.
They're all
rent.
yeah.
So the rent, like I said, I think it was
350 sounds pretty cheap.
350 to 841, and that's
That is.
depending on your income level. And they really, I think the way the leasing out goes is they want a certain percentage, and it's a very low percentage. And I have notes on it that I can kind of type up and send out to y'all, but a certain percentage, Social Security only, and it's like 18% maybe of the residents. And then the other ones, they want another additional income on top of Social Security. So, yeah,
Okay.
I'll
Thank
send
you,
y'all an
Misha.
informational email on that. And
I was wondering when this was gonna happen. I had a gentleman about 3 months ago walking my door who was kind of looking the property over and surveying, and he was pretty confident it was gonna happen, so. You know, believe it when I see it, so I guess he knew what he was talking about.
These are presented to the city council regularly, and this is the
Yeah.
first one I've ever seen get this far.
Mustang, was it Mustang Heights was the last one, but it wasn't elderly. That was subsidized housing. The city had to approve on, I think.
I don't think they're on our tax roll at full value, are they?
Yeah, I don't think Mustang Heights, they get tax breaks and everything
Okay,
else. with
but we
this
had to
stuff.
do a letter. of
Yeah.
approval for them.
Now, the last one that the guys we were dealing with on that, actually, the other guy that was talking about the one out on I-20 near the old Ford place. That was the last one that came,
Mike Ash.
yeah, Mike Ash a couple years ago.
Okay, remember that?
It never went anyplace.
And so real quick on my, at our last meeting, y'all kind of directed me to find some more information out about Family Medical Leave Act. And what Lisa has told me is at the discretion of the board, I can work as needed or completely take off, or I would like to ask y'all if I can work as needed for board meetings and other meetings and emails and phone calls and things like that. But kind of don't be in the office whenever I don't need, kind of be in the office for that 12 weeks. I have right at 7 weeks and 2 days of Family Medical Leave Act. And then any city employee, as how Lisa stated it, is able to donate vacation time, not sick time. And so if a city employee is willing to donate time, then that can cover the rest of those, I guess, 62 days that I would need to make it all the way through the end of the year. Let's see.
62 days?
Yeah,
That's 7 weeks.
I have 7 weeks of my own time that I can use.
So it's not
And so-
sick time,
you're
it's
only-
vacation time. that can be
Yeah, they
donated.
can only donate vacation, but
Okay.
I get to use I have personal hours, sick hours, and vacation, and that all adds up to a little over 7 weeks. And that would be with me taking off full time and not kind of doing anything. So at y'all's discretion, she said if I come back during the family medical leave, it's just really all it is to protect my job during that 12 weeks. So I can kind of come and go if y'all allow me to do that, or work part-time if y'all allow me to do that. It's kind of whatever y'all would allow me to do. I don't want to be missing in action for 12 weeks though. I don't want to miss anything
Right.
or.
So I think the question would just be from a financial standpoint, we would need to determine whether you would be full-time, when your family medical leave, when your accrued sick time, the 7.5 weeks, because Ken won't be, the donation that we talked about before won't happen.
Yeah, we thought that sick time would be allowed, but they said,
So,
no, it's just vacation time.
so after she uses her 7.5 weeks, then would we bring her back as a part-time employee or would we pay her as a full-time employee? I think, is that what we need to
And I
decide?
do have city employees that have been willing to donate for the rest, but I don't
Okay.
want to have to, like I said, use those and
Right.
I don't know. I guess it'd kind of have to be like the honor system of me calculating, clocking in and.
We could do that.
calculating
What do
kind of
y'all think?
stuff.
Because, I know, I think it's just something we needed to talk about and work out, right?
Yeah.
What y'all think y'all want to do?
But I don't want to leave Ken alone. I don't want to, I still want to work as much as possible, answer emails, phone calls and all that good
Thought
stuff.
you didn't leave me alone, she didn't trust me.
what if she does that? Jeff, what do you think? What if she just keeps up with her time during this time and, and then turns it in and we pro rata it?
I think that would be fine.
Would that be a fair way to do it?
Yeah,
Maybe
definitely.
that way she would,
Is
because,
that after the 7 weeks?
after her.
Well, or if you take it on a paycheck by paycheck, every other week when you do a timesheet, you can put 5 days were vacation and 5 days were work or whatever that might be. So
Right.
you'd be spreading those 7 weeks out over a longer period of time.
Yeah, however she decides to do it, but that way she could keep up with her time, and that way it would be fair to this board, but
Right.
yet as much as she wants to work, we want her to work, so,
Yeah.
you know,
That
but we
7
don't
weeks
want
then
you
would
to,
Spread out to
have to.
12.
Mhm.
And I appreciate her wanting to
Stay in it.
stay in contact.
absolutely,
I
yeah.
don't wanna-
But I don't want you to have to do more than you know, are able
Right.
to or comfortable with, so,
Right.
because that's what that 12, the Family Medical
Mhm.
Leave Act is for. How does everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
great, thank you, Misha.
I don't, we have a Rotary presentation, so I'm gonna ask if I was gonna go over the program of work with y'all, but it might take a little bit.
What is the program award?
And it hasn't been updated. It's on tab 3, and I don't mind just kind of putting together a few things and bringing it back next month. But our program of work is dated 2018 through 2020. And so I was thinking we needed to do an updated one. It just kind of goes through and discusses, what y'all's expectations are of the staff. And there's categories, there's economic development, quality of life, beautification, and what kind of projects y'all want to see under each of those categories and
It'd be
stuff.
good if we postpone that and get you kind of what we,
Okay,
our expectations,
okay,
and then you can work that in.
okay, so we'll,
That sounds good.
okay. The retail consulting services. I was gonna bring a contract to y'all, for your deliberation and discussion during this meeting, but I actually ran into another company that I had a discussion with. They're called Retail Coach. And so I have been making reference calls and comparing services and all that good stuff. And just kind of wanted to update y'all on that. They are more of a Texas-based, have more contacts in Texas and stuff like that. And so, and also they're quite a bit cheaper than what we were looking at. I don't want to go with them just because they're cheaper. I want to go with them because their references hold up and their contacts in Texas are more standing than what Retail Strategies was and stuff like that. So I wanted to ask this board if y'all would give me through October to make all my reference calls and kind of do our due diligence on each.
Can you give us some examples of why you think that there would be a better fit for us possibly?
Yes, so they've done more in our area. They've done some in Brownwood, right outside of Brownwood. They've done, let's see, I'm trying to remember. I wish I would have brought my notes. They've done like about 7 or 8 comparable communities to Sweetwater in the state of Texas. Of course, all their reports and their deliverables are very much the same type as Retail Strategies is. From the reference calls that I've made, though, I've kind of actually talked to a couple of people that switched from Retail Strategies to the new one, which is Retail Coach. And their reason for switching is the feet on the ground. They come to our community more often. Where Retail Strategies in their contract, they say they'll make 1 visit a year. Retail Coach says at least 3. And so I really liked that better.
Where are they located?
Austin.
Okay.
Yeah. Their main office is in Austin, and they've actually been in business since 2000. Retail Strategies has been in business since 2011. And just kind of the market in Texas, their contacts, a couple of examples that he gave me. He said we have bi-weekly meetings with HEB. We have, so on and so forth, just with a lot of the companies that were in the deliverables that Retail Strategies gave us. Panda Express, he said, I was at a Retail Live conference in Austin a couple of weeks ago, and Sweetwater's name was actually brought up about Panda Express. And just kind of, I mean, he was just really, really nice and willing to tell and be upfront. And Ken's worked with him quite a bit over the,
Back when we were type A and
Yeah.
and couldn't do this type of stuff, I always kept in touch with him just to learn some stuff. And she may not say it, no, one of the things that would have really upset me on retail strategies is that once they knew that somebody gave them a better price, they came down $25,000.
yeah, because I did go back and I said, you know, I'm talking to this other company. They- They underbid you by quite a bit, and so that did irritate me as well. And I wasn't gonna. You're right, I wasn't gonna say it, but
I mean, you know, that's
It's an
a trust
integrity
issue.
issue.
Yeah,
I think.
it is.
It's an
It is.
integrity issue. I don't
Yeah.
like it either.
and so it's really made me take a step back and just be like, well, I'm gonna really evaluate everything because I don't want to.
And I appreciate her going through all this evaluation, making a lot of phone calls, doing a lot of background checks just to
Well,
make
be
sure.
sharp enough to catch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Hey,
yeah.
so did you ever hear back from IC Squared Group? And has that just gone completely silent?
Pretty much. I
They
think COVID.
Switched to another program
Yeah.
and they're doing it now.
And I mean, I feel like our
Mhm.
group really learned a lot just going through the stuff as far as getting something out of it other than like the educational piece. I don't think there was a
Right.
lot there. It did teach us some things though, and how to construct focus groups and really analyze projects and things like that. But I don't think.
And we were able to bring Karen on board too.
Uh-huh.
So it was the three of us doing that. I thought that was a good connection too.
Yeah.
And we've talked about making sure Karen's involved with this, whichever retail group. we go
Good.
to
Yeah, that's
also.
important. That's very
Right.
important.
And of course, the city will also be involved. I don't know if David will devote a staff member or anything, but yeah, they are partnering to fund it and everything. So I think that's with the city and us and the chamber really just building those partnerships locally and stuff. I think it helps. And then I don't know if any of y'all would like to join us. I don't know if I'll be at the chamber banquet. I probably won't be.
I will be there.
But would you like to sit at our table?
Yes, please.
Okay, you and Jay.
Yes,
Yes.
it'd be great.
Anyone else? I think you have your own table.
Yeah,
Russ.
I'm at the chamber table,
Okay.
but if we're gonna have a table, we can- did you say, I'm sorry,
It's
Steve was gonna have a
mhm.
table?
Yeah, and I know
I'll-
you're already sitting at the chamber.
Well,
Wow.
I'm going off of that board, so I'll sit with them.
Okay. Dr. Peak or
We also keep our table for elected officials from out of town that come in.
Yeah.
We usually set at our table too, so we should be good with that then.
okay.
Thank you, Misha.
You're welcome. Well, I did have one more thing that's not on here, but for the October meeting, I mean, just in case I'm not able to attend it, Ken actually is going on vacation the week that we would normally have our meeting. So I was going to see if it'd be okay if we had it on October 8th. It's a Friday.
October 8th.
You send out an email. I don't know. I don't have my calendar.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'll send it.
Thanks.
And if it doesn't work out, it's fine.
I'm open on the Friday.
That's better for me.
Is that an away game? Football?
Actually, that might be homecoming.
Is that homecoming?
I can't remember. It's sometime.
Okay.
Homecoming's the week before that, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. The second. or
I think
something like that.
so,
It's
right.
The same weekend. as
It's
Experience.
Jay's. It's a big one for
Experiential
them. I don't know what.
Yes, it's first. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Misha. Yeah, we'll
Okay.
you can hurt us up on that one.
Right. And then I guess that's all I have. Ken.
Okay, perfect.
And I've just got a couple of quick updates. Georgia Pacific, of course, she's got some pretty good pictures here. You can see a lot of this is the board line over here that's already going into place. They're very pleased with things that are going on. we've been in contact with Rick this past week. They've got a piece of property they're trying to acquire that they need some help on with the county. So I'm working on that. Hopefully we'll have that all finalized today. All going well. And then we continue, the city's actually, not the city, but the contractors got equipment on already fixing the pipe. They have the fusion machine, these plastic pipe come in lengths, and then they lay them out, and then that goes through a machine that fuses it together, so make it one continuous piece. So it's all going quite well. Then Jose's project, supposed to, as last I talked to him late last week, should have he's got a contract on it, should close on it sometime later this part of this week, early next week. Hopefully this week we'll start the second house. He thinks he'll have a contract on it before he actually starts it. And it's gonna be exact same floor plan. The other couple loves it. He's gonna change outside a little bit and some of the inside furnishings, but
And this one down here is Jose's. Right
yeah,
here.
and the thing that right now that Newman is trying to decide if they can build right next to it or they can skip a lot and go together.
I know, I drove by, I couldn't figure that out either. Thought, what are they doing? They don't know.
They haven't decided yet.
Okay.
Because they wanted the one closer to Berwick, and then Jose said, you do realize you're gonna have more grass because you're gonna have a lot on that kind of the south side. He said, oh, I didn't think about that. I'm not sure I want more grass.
So he's gonna let them choose.
Yes,
Okay,
they will choose.
gotcha.
But it really looks good. We
It
did
does.
some walkthroughs.
Very
It
good.
really looks nice.
I agree.
And then I kind of gave an update during our financials, but these two are the most recent. Gary McDowell's, his 7th and 8th. Almost, this one right here is the one that's almost at the dry end. And then
And for him to get his next incentive check, he has to pour the concrete on the 9th one.
Okay.
And that puts him in a place to request more funds.
We're building houses, guys.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Cooking.
cool. It's awesome. One more thing, Ken, do you mind going through the process just quickly of how a board member is replaced when Dr. Pete goes off the board? What's going to happen? Just
But of course, it's always a city commission. Occasionally they'll ask, sometimes they don't, it's whatever that happens. And then once that board member comes on, and Misha and I have already got most of it put together, we'll put together a board orientation.
okay.
And so that person will meet with before our first meeting and basically have a book very similar to this, but more detailed on all the operations and how things happen. So they're a little bit more up to date when they come in. And then at our next meeting, we'll have an election process
Right.
for the new officers for the this coming year.
But the- and-
My term expires the last day of this month.
That's correct.
Okay. And I currently, I don't know, does Barbara call anybody else to come down and sign checks?
no, she's mentioned Joseph
Okay.
just because he's convenient over here at First Financial Bank and she can bring them to you. But I haven't spoke with you yet about it.
Okay. I just wanted to make, because I guess she assumes since I know where City Hall is, she calls me all the time and I'll zip down and sign a few checks and it just takes a couple of minutes, but somebody else will need to take over that duty.
And we normally try the last several years, we've made it where we had the check signatures where everybody on the board was available to sign those checks. You usually have one person designated, and we always make sure that that person is not the one that signs off on the
Right.
paperwork too. So we have a double set of eyes for the board looking at that stuff.
So
And I
the-
do believe everyone is on the bank account to sign.
Great. So just to clarify, so the city council, will they approve the replacement?
That's tomorrow.
That will be approved tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, so that the new board member will be approved tomorrow.
And that's why we haven't done anything about it, because it's until they approve it. It's
Right.
just a discussion item, so.
And we don't have to do like an action item,
Mm-mm.
except, yeah, okay.
Thank you, Ken. Okay. Anybody else?
So do we have discussion on a new board member, or are you filling it or putting?
No,
in a
the
request?
city commission decides. It's their discretion.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll vote on it tomorrow. Apparently, it's already on their agenda to do, so.
At one time, if a member, Jared, each council member could nominate someone,
Mhm.
and then you had 2 votes. Each person had 2 votes.
Yeah.
I don't know if you probably ever had 5 5 people nominated, but
No, it's pretty cut and dry by the time it gets to that point.
Anybody have anything else?
And is there an oath? And it just occurred to me, you know, when we start new terms on city council, we have to swear an oath. Do we need to check into that for board members?
Russ didn't have to.
we've never done that. That doesn't mean it's not right, but of course, we're also an MDD with change.
Yeah, we
Yep.
may. I mean, we may do it. We may just use the same one just to cover ourselves. That the city
Say again?
council does. We could probably use the same one the city council does.
Okay, I didn't know if
Since
we
it is
even needed to or not.
That's a good
Well,
idea.
Since we're appointed and not elected.
Would you take care of that, Jeff,
I'll
for
look
us?
and see.
And also, do we follow up and ensure that they've done the open records video and those training
Yes, we
courses
do.
and they have to turn in their certification on that or whatever, not completion, whatever
Yeah,
it is,
it's
their
like a
little
little
certificate. Okay. Good. That's good. Anybody else? Everybody has done that, correct?
Mhm. You were the one I didn't have one from, but I
If we
think
need to
you
do some catch up,
sent
we
it.
need to do that. We need to make sure we've got them all in the file.
But I think you sent it since I asked, because I remember, I know Russ is our newest one, he's done it.
Okay.
And just so you know, on open meetings, it is a little different than some of the other. If you've done an open meeting for school board and come on this board, you still have to do it for this board.
Yeah, you do.
You have to do it for every entity that you do it. But once you do it, as long as if you're on 10 years, you never have to do it again. You're good through that period. But
Right.
if you're on 3 boards, you'd have to do it 3 times.
And do we do open meetings and open records, or do we just do open meetings?
Just open meetings.
Okay. Open records is
Have I
kind of
done that?
interesting
Okay.
You did it when
too.
you-
You know, that
Yeah, I'm pretty
Before
sure.
I got
everything
here.
we do
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
public. Everything we have is public available. So open records is pretty interesting too. That's what Jeff tries to keep us out of trouble with the apply to all business. Okay, anybody else? Nope.
Move we adjourn.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank y'all. Very good job. Meeting.
Because I
Thank you,
gotta
Joseph.
Can I steal my last pen?
I've got it. I mean, I've got it.
See you over there, Joseph.
City
You got
council
your-
and everything, too.
Okay,
If we need it, because we just did it for city council.
and I think,
When,
I'm pretty sure I have everything, but if I don't, I'll get
if not, I mean, I guess we would treat it fairly similar. But I think it would all be the same. All right.